Today we're going to examine a case study, not to sensationalize it, not to dramatize it, but to understand it. This case centers around a historic building in Garnett, Kansas, built in 1858 and used for multiple purposes over its lifespan, including residence, lodging, and community functions. Over time, stories accumulate around the structure, and eventually a name emerged within local paranormal circles: the Grinner. The building experienced periods of abandonment, particularly in the late 1970s and early 1980s. During those years, it became a subject of curiosity. Local children reportedly described seeing something at the windows: a face, a grin. At that stage, there was no formal identity attached, just repeated description. Later, with the rise of paranormal media in the 1990s and early 2000s, the narrative solidified. Investigators compared notes. The smiling figure became the Grinner. Not because of a documented historical figure, but because of repeated interpretation. This is how folklore forms. To understand this properly, we need to define a few concepts. In psychology, there is the concept of a feedback loop. Belief influences behavior. Behavior reinforces belief. In occult terminology, there is the concept of an egregore, a construct formed and sustained by collective attention. In Kiowa theory, this is described as a perception system that becomes self-sustaining through reinforcement. Different language, same pattern. When attention repeatedly reinforces a narrative, that narrative stabilizes. When I entered the location, I did not begin with the assumption of a supernatural entity. I began with observation. Language patterns, environmental triggers, object placement, emotional tone, group dynamics. I was not searching for proof of a demon. I was examining influence. Within the environment were antique children's toys, particularly dolls resembling young girls. Objects like these carry symbolic weight. They activate emotional responses. They can amplify discomfort or protectiveness. In the recorded footage, you will see discussion about how those dolls were handled and positioned during prior visits.
Men often in a sexual manner.
Oh, no thank you.
I have held her and cuddled and held her nice and tight, and she will moan on the spirit box. We've caught harder on the spirit box. It's like she's conversing with another spirit. I don't know. It sounds like two spirits are talking to each other about fucking the dude.
We have to bring the sound spectrum up here and see if she says anything. I'll have to bring it up.
But she likes it when you hold her nice and tight. Sounds like a job for you.
Killers. Well, one of the first caught women. Killers.
So this is Jennifer. Jennifer likes it when you degrade her.
Oh,
yeah.
One of those girls.
Call her a slut, all that stuff, you know.
How'd you guys find that out?
Just messing around. She's thrown herself down. Sometimes I will take Jennifer and put her in Sarah's chair and put Sarah up here.
Okay.
No one admitted to staging activity. No one admitted to deception. And importantly, when asked why certain dolls had not been placed close together before, the answer was simple. It hadn't been considered. There was no strategy, no admission of intentional avoidance, which is precisely why it matters. The arrangement had become habitual, unexamined, normalized, and normalization within an emotionally charged setting can create reinforcement, even without conscious intent. You will notice that I approach part of this investigation with humor. That is delivery. Humor reduces an emotional escalation. It disrupts fear roots and lowers psychological pressure. When fear drops, clarity increases. In that moment, the tone shifted. Honesty became easier, not because anyone was exposed, but because tension relaxed. At one point, I physically held one of the dolls. This was not ritual. It was not theatrical. It was observational. The sensation was not fear. It resembled social pressure, a subtle push, an atmosphere that seemed to test boundaries, not possession, not dramatic influence, but a nudge, like peer pressure. the kind that encourages people to loosen personal standards within group environments. That pattern is well documented in social psychology. When I state that emotional triggers were removed, this does not mean objects were taken or rooms altered. The only thing removed was unquestioned validity. The narrative was examined publicly. Historical context was traced. Behavioral patterns were documented. Connections were made visible. Once a feedback loop is visible, it weakens transparency, disrupts reinforcement. This is not mystical. It is systemic. The intervention consisted of ending provocation behaviors, reducing symbolic emphasis, shifting language away from dramatization, restoring individual agency. In spiritual language, this might be described as release; in psychology, deconstruction; in qua recalibration, different frameworks, same function. Remove reinforcement, and the construct dissolves. After these shifts, reports declined, emotional tone stabilized, behavior normalized. The system lost energy input. Without input, it weakened, and without reinforcement, it ended. There is also a broader philosophical question. When narratives dissolve and emotional fixation releases, something may also loosen on a symbolic level. Perhaps bonds that anchored memory and fear to a location ease. Not through spectacle, but through understanding. In the way grief softens, in the way stories fade when no longer fueled, whether one interprets that spiritually or psychologically, is secondary. The mechanism remains the same. Release follows awareness. This case is not unique. Egregores form in many contexts: political movements, online outrage cycles, corporate identities, social media trends. Anywhere attention becomes fuel, constructs form. The danger is not supernatural entities. The danger is unconscious participation. Let me conclude with this. This one was removed. Not through force, through examination, through exposure to light. Be careful what you put your energy into. Belief is a powerful drug for the mind. So mind what you believe in. Thank you for your attention. This was not about fear. It was about influence and awareness.